Well, there's a few things I want to share with you this week as a way of update as to things going on in the life of the church and things that we're in the process of doing and thinking through. So, first of all, I am pretty excited about the number of people who are participating with us in this time of prayer and fasting. We have close to 90 people who have registered. At least that's how many people we know who have expressed interest and who are joining us in this time of prayer and fasting in some form or another, and so that's pretty encouraging. And this coming Wednesday, next Wednesday, June 3rd at 7 o'clock, we're going to be having a Zoom prayer gathering. We normally meet the first Wednesday of the month anyway, where we pray for the needs of the state and praying for God to move in our state. But one of the things we're going to do at the beginning of this time of prayer is we're going to just spend some time getting into smaller groups. So we can do that through Zoom, and we're going to just ask each group to just kind of think through what is it that God's been impressing upon you. What has He been impressing upon you through your time of prayer and fasting, or even if you didn't participate in the prayer and fasting, and as you're thinking through what you're experiencing during this time of isolation and quarantine and during the virus, what is it that you have sensed God is speaking to us, and what is He wanting us to hear, and what have you been sensing? And we want to spend some time hearing from each other, what others are sensing, and we want to see if some common theme emerges as a way of discerning what it is that God might be saying to us. A couple weeks ago in my sermon, I had mentioned, obviously, and I'll mention this later in this video, obviously we are really wanting to get back to being together physically as a church family, and that's an important thing. And so sometimes the pressing question tends to be, when are we getting back, and when are we coming back together? And I suggested in that sermon a couple weeks ago that maybe a better question, or at least as an important question, is what is it that God's wanting to do right now, and what are the ways He's redirecting us, and what is He wanting us to see in light of this? And so I have some things that I've been thinking about, things that I've been discerning and processing, and want to hear from others as well. And so we want to spend time at the beginning of our prayer gathering on Wednesday to do that. So if you are interested in being a part of that, and you're not part of the fast, or you're not on this prayer team list, you can contact the church office. They'll send you a link to this Zoom invite, and you'll be able to participate with us, and we'll be spending time praying as well during that time. Would love to have you join us, whether you've been part of the prayer and fasting or not, but would love to be able to pray together with you in this format. So that's Wednesday at 7 o'clock. The other thing I want to share with you is we are going to be doing another congregational business meeting on June 14th. After the morning service again, we're going to do it at 11:15 to 12 o'clock noon. And this time, it's not a practice run. This time, it's going to be to vote on some things that we need to vote on. So we're going to present our general fund budget. We're going to present our missions fund budget. And then we have recommendations from the nominating committee that we need to vote on. And so we did some trial runs of that at our informational meeting a couple weeks ago. And this will be an opportunity for us to actually conduct the business of the church in some capacity. So if you are interested in being a part of that, especially if you're a member, you'll be receiving an email at the end of this week. Well, probably today, you'll be receiving an email. And in that email, there will be a listing of the agenda, as well as there will be general fund budget, missions fund budget, some information from the bylaw committee. There will also be the list of names of people who are going to be up for recommendations from the nominating committee. So we want to get that information out to you, and what you'll need to do to be part of that meeting is on this email, it'll have a link for you to register, just like you did last time, to be able to be part of the Zoom webinar meeting that we have for the congregational meeting. So you'll get information on that, and hopefully you'll be able to join us. Just keep in mind that when it comes to voting, everyone who votes needs their own email account. And so if you have 2 people watching the congregational meeting off the same device, you'll only be able to vote one time. So we encourage you to each register individually. And if you know of people in our church who are having trouble with that, let us know. Or if you know of people who don't have access to this, let us know. We also are trying to reach out to those people as well. So we would like to have as many people participate as possible. So that's Sunday, June 14th, after the morning service at 11:15. One of the things we're going to talk about in that meeting, kind of give you as means of update, as we were going to talk about where are we with regards to opening up the church again. So one thing that we've already done is some of us are starting to come back into the office and be a little more accessible in the office. And so that's slowly beginning to open up. We have a team of people who are beginning to process what it's going to take for us to open up the church building. So we have 3 tracks of teams, if you will, that are processing this. So one team is looking at the overall ministry of the church, and we're really focusing in on communication and what we're going to need to communicate to you when we start coming back into the church. We also want to think through how to care for those who are most vulnerable, and so that's one team that's kind of working on things. There's another team that's really working on the physical aspects of the church. What's going to be required of you if you come? How are we going to conduct things? What cleaning measures are going to be in place? What procedures are going to be in place? And this will probably be happening in phases. So when we have our first phase coming back, the instructions will be pretty clear. And so they're working on getting those things together. And then we have another group that is just focusing on children and youth. And that group is trying to think through what will ministry look like this summer, what will ministry look like this fall with children and youth. And so we're working that. So I would say, number one, be praying for this process. As you can imagine, sometimes it is a little overwhelming trying to think through what's the best thing. I was writing in my journal the other day, and hopefully you can appreciate this. I was just kind of saying to myself, you know what, we need to resign ourselves to the fact that we probably aren't going to get this 100% correct. And so we're just trying to take the information that we've received and trying to make the best decisions possible. So as of now, I don't have a date to give you as to say this is the date we are opening up. But you should know that we have teams that are meeting, and we're working pretty aggressively at trying to answer some of those questions. So you should anticipate hearing more information from us. This Sunday, there'll be a report on that. June 14th at the congregational meeting, I think there'll be a far more detailed, up-to-date report on that as well. So be praying about that. And in the meantime, we continue to be the church in this setting, and we're looking to see what new opportunities God provides for us as a result. So I trust that you have a great rest of your week, and thank you for your patience with all this and for your continued involvement and support in the life of the church. All right? God bless.